Hi everyone, if you are someone who tackles with thoughts of being a failure or feeling like you're a failure, then this video is for you. Hello, my name is Bianca Hughes and I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Georgia, and I have my practice Authentically BU Counseling in Dunwoody, and it is a private practice specializing in perfectionism, that sense of not feeling enough or like you're doing enough. And I focus on helping people embrace their imperfections and authentically be themselves. So at the beginning, I talked about thoughts of being a failure. I want you guys to know that I cannot tell you how many times people come in and share with me the sense of being a failure, or they're a failure, or they feel like their whole life is a failure. And so what I really want to help you with today and kind of talk about today is, what does it mean to be a failure? What does it look like? And how can we overcome that sense of believing that at our core, we are a failure? A common theme that I hear or I see clients come in with, and I just hear people in regular life talk about, is failure of not meeting goals, right? And those goals can look like not being married at a certain age, not having a certain amount of money, failing school. Perhaps you had kids earlier than you wanted to do and you had to drop out of school. When you compare yourself to others, you seem much further behind than your peers or people in your job or people who you went to school with. You feel like you're trying to reach these goals and you can never achieve them. Perhaps you feel like you have had a few divorces and you feel like you are a failure. You just cannot get it right. You seem to get into bad associations with people and you're trying your best, but every time you try, it doesn't work out. And so you get this ultimate sense of, man, I keep failing, so therefore I'm a failure. You now begin to see your whole self as a sense of failure. And I really want to help you guys kind of make that distinction between the two of I failed or I didn't reach a target to I failed, I didn't reach a target, and now I'm a failure, right? That's kind of the distinction of kind of like the shame is I am the failure. Like I, the person, Bianca, am a failure. Everything about me is a failure. And that is not true, and that's what I want to talk about today. So I have a definition here. I'll just read it to you. Failure is a state or condition of not meeting a desirable or intended objective or goal. Initially, the opposite of success. So if you think about some of the examples I gave earlier, a lot of those are based on goals and achievements. And often when we think of failure, we relate it to I didn't meet a goal or I didn't achieve this target, therefore now I'm a failure. Or I keep trying to reach this goal, and when I don't reach it, I now see myself as a failure. Or have this sense, this underlying thing, I'm a failure. And so I'm gonna do everything in my life to prove that's not true, or I'm just gonna give up, or I'm not gonna try as hard. There is nothing wrong with goals and achievements. They are great, but we have to remember to have a healthy balance of goals and achievements. When we make the goal or achievement our identity, that's when the problem comes in. And identity is who I am versus what do I do. So let me break that down. What I do is professional counseling, right? That's the role that I have. And that's pretty much of who I am. My identity is Bianca Hughes. I'm kind, I'm thoughtful, I'm caring, I'm energetic, I'm determined, I'm resilient. That's me. That's my identity. And because of those things, like a sensitive nature, a willing to help others, I'm able to fulfill this role of what I do as a professional counselor. Note, those kindness and being helpful are going to go into other roles of being a friend or being a sister or being an aunt, right? So that's me at my core. So wherever I go, I carry Bianca with me and I fulfill these different roles. Bianca fulfills these different roles and makes the roles. The roles don't make Bianca. But what happens with the sense of when we feel like we are a failure, we feel like the roles, the goals, and the achievements, like when I become this much richer, when I become this house, that's what makes you who you are. No, because if you wasn't you, you wouldn't be able to reach those goals and you wouldn't be able to reach those achievements. You make the goals, you make the achievements. And even when you don't even meet them, you are still you, and you still have the qualities and you still have the skills to reach those goals. Therefore, you don't have to feel like you're a failure. I hope this is making sense for you. So, here are a couple of things to think about. What I just mentioned is you have to make the distinction between the goal and you, the person, and your characteristic, right? And your identity. If your identity and your characteristics and you're aware of what they are and who they are and they're your foundation, then they help you meet the goal. That is, not reaching the goal doesn't make you a failure because you're still your unique self. So let's begin to make that distinction between your identity and your characteristics as your foundation rather than the goals and the achievements. So we talked about how can we get over this thought, that little sense that you're a failure. First thing, you have to make the distinction between when you fail to reach a goal versus you are a failure. First thing, right? I set a goal to wake up in the morning at 8 and I wake up at 8:30. I missed the goal, right? I kind of failed that. But I'm not a failure. I'm still me. I'm still my personality. I'm still my characteristic self. Let's think about, okay, I set this 5 times a week and I keep missing it. But you know what? I'm keeping going. When I think about this, I think about my friend reminded me that I was trying to get on a flight and it was a buddy pass and I kept going and I couldn't get on the flight and I just got so frustrated. But she said to me, did you not get up every time and continue to go even though you didn't get on the flight? And I was like, yeah. She was like, you could have given up. You could have stopped going. You could have just said, forget it, I'm not going to try. But you kept trying, didn't you? And I said, yeah. And so with that, I knew, yes, I may have failed and maybe it was out of my control, but I kept going. So even when you don't reach the goal or but you'll keep going, the fact that you're still here as a human being, that means you haven't failed. You're still here. So let's, going on to the next thing, we got to look at the big picture. That is big picture thinking. Yes, I didn't reach this small goal, but what am I doing every day to reach goals? What other goals am I reaching? How am I living? You're still surviving, you haven't given up, and you're not a failure. So that's the second part of it, like big picture thinking. What am I doing? What am I achieving? And what am I bringing to the table, and who am I? So not that you're just not honed in on this one thing that you did wrong. But here's the thing, right? If you keep failing, it can make you feel like something's wrong with you. Maybe you need to change the goal. Maybe you need a new outlook. Maybe you need to stop and step back, look at the big picture. Maybe you need to ask for help. Maybe it's not something's wrong. Maybe it's not the right season, or maybe this is not the goal for you, or maybe you need some help or a different set of eyes. But it doesn't mean you, the person, are a failure. You just have to do things differently. Be willing to adjust. So the last thing I want you to remember, which I kind of mentioned at the beginning, is your identity is who you are. It's your characteristics. It's your strengths. And that is what helps you make the goals. They don't go away just because you don't reach a goal or because you fail. You still have the same characteristics. You are still you. It goes back to big picture thinking, right? I want you guys to remember that. And also, when you fail, think about how much can you learn from this? What can you learn about yourself? What can you learn from this situation? What could you do differently going forward? If you use your failures or the sense of your failures as a learning opportunity, then it also takes away that heaviness that you're a failure. Yes. Think about how many how many times did Albert Einstein try and find electricity? Michael Jordan, he failed. But look how big he is. So many people have failed or not done it at the right age. The Kentucky guy, he started at 40 or something? Don't give up. You're still here. You're still going. It just might need to be adjusted, but you are not a failure. If you think like you're a failure and you believe you're a failure, then that's where the trouble is. And that's what we're going to start changing and seeing the big picture that you're not. There's things that you do really well. So I don't just want to talk and just be like, okay, don't be a failure. I also want you to give you something that you can do that's tangible. I want you to think about the goals. I want you to think about and write down. I'm always going to talk about writing down because it's so key. It's so important. And it is just so helpful because then your brain is engaged. I want you to write down a goal you haven't achieved. Yes, a goal you've attempted or attempting and you haven't achieved yet. And then I want you to write down what were the qualities and characteristics that you needed in the attempt to reach the goal. I.e., when I was trying to get to the plane, I had to be determined. I had to be focused. I had to be hopeful. I have all those things and they're still within me. And the reason I want you to choose a goal you haven't achieved, because I want you to begin to see your qualities. I'm also going to put a link just for you if you need some ideas on characteristics and qualities just to help you get started. And then I'd love to hear your feedback. Share a comment, share this with a friend, whatever the case may be. But I'd love to hear your feedback and just want to know if this has been helpful for you. Again, my name is Bianca Hughes and I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Georgia. Thank you so much. Just remember this: authenticity is a journey, not a destination. Embrace your imperfections and authentically be you.